Welcome to Channel EMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online Mewtwo visa consultant. Are you interested in migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, today's video, I would like to do a review, not to talk about all the state nomination for the skill migration, but in the generic view of what you should really do for the upcoming future and of course for now, the present date. Now, first of all, we need to know that the annual quota has been restricted, despite that the government has only decreased a couple thousand of total permanent intake. However, from the precedent, that is going to be the last year, the financial year of 2023 and 24, well, they were allocated about 190,000, but sadly, they did not use them all, just because they wanted to constrain the numbers of migrants coming into the country, and also all we know about the topic about the housing crisis, whether or not they're gonna resolve it or not, don't know. Now the former Minister of Home Affairs, Claire O'Neill, is now for the Minister of Housing. Well, hopefully she will solve the problem. However, I don't think having houses or building or constructing houses will be a short-term issue. So it's going to be a struggle. That means for this financial year and perhaps the next financial year, the restricted number of migration quota will continue. So how would you strategically plan your migration or skill migration to Australia? Is the key thing that I wanted to address. Now, first of all, we learned that all the state nomination has already opened for invitations, despite that the only state left will be the state of New South Wales. So Queensland has opened it last week, and then Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territory, Victoria, Tasmania, they are all open now. The only one left is New South Wales. However, we don't think there will be a bulk number of invitations, despite some of the state does receive more quota than the year before, but it's still really limited in compared to what we used to see. And also we all learned that they have halved the independent skill migration of subclass 189, because I believe that the new point test system will be introduced and will be rolled out very soon. So how should you really focus on what you need to do? Obviously there will be two pathways. One will be migrated by yourself or nominated by the state, and the other one obviously is getting a job and go through the employment sponsor pathway. So how do you focus on that? I think the first thing that you need to do, and we're looking into the future, this is actually being proposed by the Grattan Institute for the new point test. Throughout my channel we have been reviewing this chart for numbers of time. The thing I wanted to point you out is that the English language, they will still provide a very good points for IELTS 8+, 8 or above. That's superior English, with the definition within the migration regulations. And you can see, even with the new proposed point test system, IELTS 7 only give you 45 points, but the IELTS 8 giving you 90 points. That's double of the points, and it's exactly the same as what we are currently have. The current system provides IELTS 7, you get 10 points. IELTS 6, you get 0 points. And you get superior IELTS 8, you get 20 points, so double of the point. Now that is significant. Why do I say that? Because if we check out the most recent invitation round, a lot of occupations has been, they are bumped up to 85 points, 95 points, even 100 points. Now, any points that accrue above 80, I will say that you're really required to have a superior English. So that is the one key feature of the future, and obviously currently. So if you don't get IELTS 8, I think it'll be very hard. And if you want to depend on the state nomination for adding that extra 5 or 15 points or under subclass 491, The problem is the wait and the delay is very, very long. I don't think anyone want to migrate. They love to have that delay timing. So the key to success getting your visa or permanent residency in Australia will be rely on your English proficiency. And what is that? That's gonna be IELTS 8 or above. Now the other one I also wanted to pick a point is the new point testing will actually allow a further point to be added if you have high earnings. So this will be a key as well. Now obviously it will be really hard for a graduate to actually have a high earning. However, if you perform well, and obviously we encourage that the international student come to Australia to study something that is highly appreciated rather than something which really common. So what was the previous skill migration system was basically setting out some trades occupation and some professional occupation, and everybody just study all these so-called the common occupations. For example, anything related to ICT, anything engineer, anything accounting, and they don't really care about your employability and also how the quality of your employability. Now with the new system, it does account that. So if that's accounted in there, the better the earning that you have, the better points that you will get. So that is where you're going to focus on. Now the other thing I also want to talk, and a lot of people have asked me this question, now what if I just cannot get, IELTS 7 is hard enough. I can hardly get it, but I'll get it. But IELTS 8, it's just not possible. And what about the income, the annual income to be above 100,000? That's just too hard for me. Well, if those are the questions that's raised in your brain now, the other options is that you really need to think about getting yourself the employment sponsorship. Now, employment sponsorship with the new feature in the skills and demand visa, it also has a feature on the annual salary above 135,000 plus. Then you don't need to choose any occupation. However, if you get that kind of salary, perhaps you go independent skill migration, you get a lot of points as well. So again, but if that's not the key, then all you can do is to get an employment sponsor, get a job, get a work, and your minimum required for IELTS will be staying 6. Now, so that way, if you go through skills demand, that's going to be the new employment sponsorship that we'll currently call the temporary skill shortage visa. It's really confusing, isn't it? They just keep on changing the name of that visa, and it used to be 457, now 482. Who knows what skills and demand visa is going to be, the numbers is going to be. It's going to start with 4. I don't know, 4 whatever. But anyhow, they have the new migration strategy has actually pointed out how they gotta streamline and also ensure there is a guarantee pathway to permanent residence. So even if you change the employer and the job during your employment, you will still have that pathway to become a permanent resident. So again, if you cannot really get the IELTS 7 or 8 or a high income, then getting a job is really the key here. Now obviously the key things here is that you wanted to strive to get as good as you can. So the old system used to allow those common employers, the common occupation, and people just coming in with the average ability and average professions. That's the previous migration system. That's got to be gone. Okay. Now the new system that the Australia immigration system wants is that people could actually achieve higher. They can perform better. That means they have a better English proficiency and the better way that can actually be employed. Obviously, that will also increase the level and the income threshold there. So that will be the thing that I want to provide and advise. So if you cannot reach any of these ones, perhaps Australia might not be the destination for you. Anyhow, should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video.